What's up, Focus fans, and welcome to the sixth and final episode of the CrossFit Cooldown for the 2022 Open. I've had a lot of fun putting this content together, and I've had some great feedback. So I'd love to make some more of this content moving forward, and I've even had a lot of people ask how they can help support me in the future and to outline it for you guys here. So I am available for hire for photography and videography services. I do have a line of merch with socks and headbands. Those actually help out. And I have a few events already scheduled, so if you're going to be at the Festivus Games or if you're going to be at Girls Gone RX, please know that I have photo packages available so that you can have some dope pictures of your upcoming events. Now, getting into the Masters leaderboard. The reason why I needed to do this last is because there was so much to dive into. With so many divisions, in trying to break down each division, there's so many great races that were happening, and there were so many intricate things, people moving up. Some people were moving, like I said, people were just moving up divisions, or people are staying in the same divisions. It just takes a little while to get that information. So along with the breakdown of these Masters divisions, I'm also gonna bring you an interview with Jill Bowerman, who's a two-time state champion and trains at my home box, to see what she thought about just the Open experience and how, you know, a shorter Open, she had some adversity she had to overcome into coming into this Open, and just what she kind of thought of everything and what she's kind of looking forward to for the age group online qualifier, which was really cool to see how many Arkansans are going to make the cut. Every division is different, so there's not really stats that I'm going to be able to provide you on each individual AGOQ age group, but what I do want to do is break down the top podium finishers for every division. So this might take a minute and kind of let you know what I thought and what's to come for that athlete in the future. So what we'll do is we'll start on the female side, and in the 35 to 39, you had a brand new athlete, Cara Ruscin at 501 CrossFit. She had the largest margin of victory of any Masters athlete, with 393 spots between her and second place. Once again, she was new to the division, and look for her to probably top that division next year unless someone comes up that we don't even know about. In the 40 to 44, Kelly Sluder for Omnis CrossFit North. She won 2 of the 3 events this year, and she has prolifically been one of the top people in her age group, and she'll be aging up next year. So for those of you that are in the 45 to 49, be on the lookout. Speaking of that division, once again, Jill Bowerman is your state champion for the 2nd time in a row. And she actually just came off surgery to earn her top spot. And her margin of victory was actually the smallest margin of victory of any of the Masters divisions, with just 6 total points between her and second place, which was Jen Barnhouse. And a cool and interesting fact about Jen Barnhouse was she was the only female in that division to finish 22.3 with a time just under 11 minutes. So kudos to you. Looks like you'll be able to run the table next year, Jen, but people are hungry and they want to win, so you'll have to fight for it. Next, in the 50 to 54, we have Rita Collins. So she returns to the top of the podium after she won 2 of 3 events in this year's Open. She was 2nd in 2021, but she was 1st in 2020, 1st in 2019, and 2nd in 2019 in the 45 to 49. So she's prolifically been one of the best athletes regardless of what age division that she's been in. Not to be confused in the 55 to 59-year-old, which is Davina Collins. And this was her 9th Open, and she won the state after a little bit of a hiatus since 2016. So good to see you back competing, and it looks like you've got the magic still. In the 60 to 64, Jill Cooper. Jill Cooper swept all of the events from athletes here in Arkansas in the 60 to 64. She was 2nd place in 2020 and in 2019 and 2018, but the age groups were different. There was only 60 plus, there was not the 65. So she has prolifically, once again, she's one of these athletes that is just always going to be at the top of the podium. And for the 2nd year in a row, we have Barbara Blunt, who won this 65-year-old plus age group. This is her 2nd title, and she just barely edged out Patty from 501 CrossFit by 9 places on the worldwide leaderboard this was the second closest margin of victory. The ladies were the only division to see single-digit margins of victory. So those are all your state champions for the females master side. And on the male side, now we're gonna start back over at the 35 to 39. And what we see is Dustin Ponder, he took the 35 to 39-year-old, and he's actually gonna be moving up next year. So there's a lot of cool things that are about to happen next year with people moving up in divisions. And next year, he took first place in this age division 4 of the 5 years. So between 35 and 39, 4 of those years, Dustin was your state champion. With 1 year, he just came in 4th. So he's always been up there. He's gonna get to move up to the 40 to 44-year-old division next year, which was won by Trevor Beline from CrossFit 540. He's actually the owner. So both of those gentlemen are CrossFit Box owners. Now, Trevor was second last year, and he's only 41. So he'll have a good fight coming up next year with Dustin moving up in the ranks. In the 45 to 49-year-old, we have Mike from Men's CrossFit, and he's on the podium in the age group every year since 2018. And he moves divisions next year's into the 50s, into the 50 to 55. So another CrossFit Box owner. So the first 3 Masters divisions have all been people who own CrossFit gyms. I wonder if there's a correlation there. And the 50 to 54, the 50 to 54, Christopher Davenport, he just moved into this division and he finished 7th in the previous age group. So he has a couple years to continue to try to run the table and see how he does in that new age group. In the 55 to 59, Kenny Merritt, he had a massive improvement. Sir, congratulations, you put in the work over the past year. In the worldwide open standard, in the worldwide leaderboard, he moved up 912 spots, which was really cool. And he winded up being Arkansas's highest ranking Masters male athlete at 63rd in the world. So good job, my friend, keep it up. I'd love to hear how you were able to move that many spots in 1 year. DM me, or if someone knows him, tell him to reach out to me. Now, in the 60 to 64-year-old Matthew Anderson, this is, as best I can tell, this is his 3rd title in a row. Now, it wasn't 3rd title in this age group. Now, he won the previous age group, 55-59, in 2021 and 2020, so he's continuing on with that series of excellence, and it doesn't look like he'll be stopping anytime soon, as his margin of victory was rather large. It was over 300 and almost 360 places was 2nd place. And so looks like you'll do very good again next year. And in the 65 plus, I am so sorry if I say your name wrong, like comment, let me know. We have Danny, I'm just gonna say Danny P. It looks like Paskowitz is maybe his last name. He took 2nd in 2021, 3rd in 2020 with the age group, only heading into the 60 plus. So with this new division of the 65 plus, now you're able to compete with people who are closer to your age group for this year, and you took the top spot. Kudos, my friend. A little side note was that the top placing female in the state across all the divisions was Kelly Sluder from Omnis North at the 40 to 44. She placed 129th in the world. That was the highest ranking female. Speaking of Kelly and Dustin, they both also were, Kelly finished 9th in the overall open division, Dustin finished 11th in the open division, and they were your highest ranking masters in Arkansas in the Arkansas open division. Whew, that was a lot. So if I said your name wrong, I apologize. If there was anything that needs to be adjusted, please comment, DM me, let me know what's going on. And now I'd like to present to you an interview with Joe Bowerman, who, like I said, had to overcome a couple of things to win her 2nd state title in a row. So once again, for the 2nd year in a row, you took the state. You came through with some
kind of some hardship going into the year. So kind of tell me, how was your last year of trainings has been?
Well, the beginning of last year went really well. I had a pretty good open last year. My top placement that I've ever made was last year. Went into the quarterfinals last year and did all the quarterfinals events and ended up with a little bit of back pain, but kind of worked through that. And then went into the Legends qualifier and ended up with some neck issues that ended up causing some weakness in my right arm. While I was recovering from that, I decided to go ahead and get my knee looked at because it had been bothering me for several years, and ended up getting a scope on my right knee at the end of December. So the end of the year didn't quite pan out like I had hoped it would, but all in all, it's much better now.
So going into the Open, you probably didn't have a whole lot of like super high expectations, or did you? Like, kind of tell me, what was your thought process going into the Open?
Well, initially, I didn't even think I was going to do the Open. I told our owner, John, I was like, I'm not going to do the Open this year. Why should I, try to push myself through that right after knee surgery? However, rehabbing and working out and doing all the things that I was doing just to get my knee healthy again, I was feeling really pretty good. My knee flexion was better than it had been in 2 years. I had less swelling than I had in 2 years. So I was like, well, what the heck? I'll try it, go have fun, see what happens. So
that's great.
I did.
What did you think about as far as a master's athlete, what did you think about the programming and the number of workouts that we saw for the Open?
Well, it definitely seemed a little bit easier this year than it has in the past. Last year we had the big lift, which I was grateful that we didn't have this year, because that would have been really difficult for me right after knee surgery. So the workouts for me were great because they didn't strain me too bad as far as my knee goes. But I definitely think it was a little bit easier than in years past.
And do you think 3 tests was kind of enough to show the top 10%?
Top 10%, yes, I do. I mean, regardless of if you're a heavy lifter or not a heavy lifter, you need to be able to do those movements efficiently to be able to be in the top 10%. And then once you've made that top 10%, obviously the quarterfinals are going to test your strengths and weaknesses even further.
So in years, every year is different, right? But this past year, what we saw was that the AGOQ workouts very much were akin to the quarterfinal workouts that we saw in the Open division. Now that you know what those workouts are, what do you think, or what do you hope will come out, and do you hope that it's going to be closely aligned like last year?
I do. I think that the fact that we have 1 single dumbbell versus 2, it could be a variation of that first workout with lunges with 1 dumbbell rather than the 2, and still the handstand push-ups. They had handstand push-ups last year, although those were kipping and not strict. So I'll expect a little bit of difference from that as far as the gymnastics skill level goes for handstand push-ups. It'll be interesting if they have us do the rings. They're in there, so I would assume that they are, but it surprises me just a little bit because I've heard that the Open kind of waters the rings down a little bit, so, or at least the CrossFit Games. I've heard that for the Masters athletes. So anyway, we'll see how that goes. I would love it if they would not have pistols, because I think it's terrible on our knees, but we'll see. I'm going to try some today.
So as you are going out of the Open and preparing for the AGOQ, is it status quo? Is there anything special going on? Like, how do you prepare for the next step?
So I was gone last week, so I didn't do quarterfinals. So this week I'm actually concentrating on doing some of the quarterfinals workouts. I did the lifting complex yesterday, and also the lunge and handstand push-up workout yesterday. And besides that, I'm just still working on strengthening my knee up and my legs, because they're most definitely not as strong as they were before my knee surgery. So working on the front squat, working on the clean, working on the snatch. And then for me, gymnastics, and specifically the rings, because that's definitely where I need to work.
Yeah. Though we'll see the AGOQ and then you finish up. Would you consider like this to be the end of the CrossFit season for you, or will there be something coming up next where you rehab your knee? Like what's going to happen after the semis for you?
For me, I am hopefully going to be able to do the Monsters competition in Joplin, Missouri in July with my friend Jennifer. And so we'll be training for that. We'll register on Thursday. So if we get in, that will be my next plan to train for. And then I would like to try to qualify for Legends again. That'll be in August. And then we'll have HOA in September, which we always field a Masters team for that. And then if I get into Legends, that'll be in December. So
your CrossFit competition season is year round.
Yes, most of the time when I'm not hurt, yes. Yes.
And that should wrap up the cool down for the 2022. I, once again, thank you for allowing me to present all this information to you. I had a lot of fun putting it all together. And if you're interested in me creating more content like this, it's exactly what I want to do. I just need a little bit of support. So if I'm going to be at an event that you are competing at, please consider purchasing a photo package. Socks and headbands are also available for purchase. And if you have any content or creation or any ideas that you'd like to see come to life, please let me know. Let's connect and see how I might be able to help you in making that happen. So until next year's Open, I'll see you on the leaderboard.